Sports for All Sports podcast.
I mean, classic something for the pod, but that is so childish from
it's horrendous.
everyone involved.
Yeah. Rodri wouldn't have not turned up if he thought he was coming second. It'd still be there.
Yeah, exactly.
But they've just been...
I think Carvajal was their best player, Spain.
I was literally going to say that. If you're going to base it off the trophies, team, sport, I give it to Carvajal, but Rodri, for whatever reason, gets the nod. He even played a final. I mean, played the first half and got subbed off.
No, he got injured. Yeah, he got injured, didn't he?
Yeah, so,
Rodri is. He was easily the second best player, so it's not like, what's he won for?
True. It's not a crazy decision.
No.
Yeah, winning something with your club and something with your country in the year, it's not, you can't take it away from it. And consistency as well. I know you can't base it on the previous year, but consistency from the previous year as well.
Yeah.
He's on form all the way through. I feel like Vini was a late charge, like first half of the season. Yeah, hold on. All right, chill out. I feel like first half of the season, it was all Jude Bellingham. Second half of the season, Vini really came through.
Last season, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's what this is based on.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm just making sure I got the dates right. I think when you look at Haaland not winning it for the year that he had the year before, it's not about the player, it's about the achievements of the team.
Yeah. But I agree with that, Matt. I agree with you on that one.
And on that basis, like, we know Haaland gets all the plaudits, but Rodri, and you've noticed it when Rodri's not played for City, more so than any other club, is how they've struggled. So I don't know. We'll see. Limped past Southampton at the weekend, although according to Pep, that was due to Southampton's brilliance.
I'm literally using. Are we recording? Have we started?
Oh, yeah, we started. Welcome to the All Sports podcast.
I didn't even hear you with the.
Welcome to. Well, I didn't do it, but last week we just kind of rolled into it, and then I did the welcome to after a minute. But yeah, welcome to the All Sports podcast with me, Matt, and tonight, Joel. How are you, mate?
Hello, Matt. I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Not bad, thank you. James, how are you?
Yeah, all good myself.
Great. Age order. And Femi, how are you, mate?
I'm great. Never been better.
Femi is younger than you, James. Don't look like that.
Way Femi's younger than me. How did that happen?
Wait, how old are you, James?
28.
Oh, yeah. Unlucky, mate.
I'm really losing my youthful card as well.
On tonight's episode, we'll have, as you've heard already, we're covering off Ballon d'Or Prem. We had F1 in Mexico, maybe, hopefully, Sergio Perez's last ever race for Red Bull. Probably not, because they're on the road at the moment. So, but we'll continue where we left off with the football chat. So Pep was praising Russell Martin's Southampton. I don't know if he was it's just a stay of execution for Russell Martin. But he said, I know I'm going to get sacked at some point playing the way we do, and I'm okay with that. I guess similar to what Ange at Tottenham has said too, not going to change the way they play for anyone. They just believe in the way that they've got the team playing football and won't change. And it is good. It's good football to watch. But I don't know if that was my team, if I would be happy with them going down playing good football or staying up scrapping.
It's slightly selfish what's happening with promoted teams the last couple of years. You're seeing managers come in and stick to a attractive style for what I think is CV building. Like they're going to try and keep their clubs up, but they think it's that difficult. They'd rather go down playing attractive football and maybe go the company route and somehow land a job like that. Like they're building their CV, they're building their reputation. If I was a Southampton fan, I'd be like, we need points on the board. We want to stay in the Prem. We work so hard to get here. I don't want to go out with a whimper, but an attractive playing whimper just seems a bit wrong to me.
It's also, I don't know, I think there's a flip side of it in that fans kind of want to play that way as well. Like they want their team to play that way. So, and I think there's no guarantee that playing more pragmatically would accrue more points.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have to earn the right to play that way in the Premier League? You can't just rock up in the first season and go, this is how we're going to play. We're going to assert our way. Are we good enough? Or I seem to remember when Wolves came up, obviously they're one of the recent 5-6 years ago, and they're now a mainstay in the league before this season. They were scrappy, they were hard to beat. And then you implement your style over time and you buy them players. You don't just go, this works in the Championship. This guy's a ball-playing defender in the Championship. It's going to work in the Prem. I think it has to be more of a journey.
It is fun.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't. It's not working because they've got 1 point from 9 games and they've lost 4 on the bounce. So they're not earning anything.
No, I agree.
I mean, it's similar to the company era. I wouldn't even give him that much credit because, I mean, he's probably the one manager. I mean, when someone says he's probably the one manager, you're typically wrong. So I'm sure there's someone out there who will disprove this. But the one manager who's been sacked after getting relegated and getting a top job after. So I wouldn't give him.
He didn't get sacked, did he?
Oh, yeah, he didn't.
He was meant to be with Burnley this year.
Yeah, you're right. He literally got relegated and then got a new job, which is with Bayern, which is strange. I mean, they're struggling now anyway. So
yeah, part of that is his playing career as well. Like it's a mixture of the two. I think Russell Martin's not going to Bayern even if Southampton go down. I think basically they're in a difficult position. You're definitely right, James, that it's more beneficial to him for him to show, I'm this type of coach and want to play football in this type of way, so that maybe clubs in the Premier League will have a look at him and will looking to implement a certain style. But ultimately, you want to play them. Like, I just hope they don't either change manager or change approach before my team gets to play them. You know what I mean?
I can't see the benefit of people changing managers, like these sort of clubs changing managers, unless they're going for a different style. Like, this guy knows the club, he knows the players, he's built this squad. He's going to get the tune out of them. Unless you want to play a complete different way, which is acknowledging what the manager's doing is wrong, there is no point in firing your coach. Like, McKenna won't leave Ipswich, Martin won't leave Southampton, and O'Neill won't leave. I mean, O'Neill's probably the one that might go out of the three.
Gary O'Neill.
Well, the odds are that it's Russell Martin next, then Gary O'Neill. So
what does that do for Southampton sacking their manager?
Yeah. Well, if you don't sack him, you continue. Like, we're a third. We're not a third of the way. We're a quarter of the way through the season, and you've got 1 point.
It was a good result for them. Are we still talking about Wolves?
Bit of both. Yeah, one
Yeah,
side.
both.
In terms,
I mean, whichever. Wolves have got 2 points.
Yeah,
So.
in terms of O'Neill, I think that he's in a funny position in that the team wasn't really built in his image. Like, for Southampton and Ipswich, that's definitely the case. For O'Neill, less so. But that was a good result of the weekend, and they have got some favourable fixtures coming up. So he's probably got 5 games where, if he gets 9 points, he'll probably just crack on.
Yeah, and before this weekend, I would have said Palace look less of a hope than Wolves. Like, I think Wolves have played okay for the 1 point that they had, and Palace looks a little bit down in the dumps. But they've just beaten Spurs, and suddenly 6 points looks far better than the one that Southampton have. So I still think we're super early on. Not even a quarter of the way through the season in the Prem. Quarter of the way now.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's 38 games, isn't it?
Just shy.
Time yet for them both to find some form, and a team like Leicester, who are on 9 points, to really plummet down. It's really just about the run of fixtures that they've had.
I think Brighton is one to watch heading into the winter break. Reason I say that is they've had some shaky results so far.
What's the winter break? There's a winter break.
What? You know what I mean.
It's winter fixtures.
Winter fixtures.
Okay. So the opposite to winter break. Yeah. Like an increased volume of fixtures.
There's another international break in November, isn't there?
Yeah, that's what I meant, James. Cheers for that. But yeah, either way. But I still think Brighton are one to watch because they've had some really interesting results. I mean, conceding 4 goals from Chelsea and then conceding 2 from Tottenham. Conceding 2 from Wolves as well. I think the defense is really leaky, and it can get really interesting once the games start to pile up as well.
So you think that Brighton are on the slide?
I think they're on the slide. I'm calling it now.
Oh, I didn't know if you'd go the other way. Maybe honestly, like I think if they can keep their squad fit, then I think they're pretty safe. They're pretty safe top half of the table.
We've said it before though. Brighton are playing a super high line with like Lewis Dunk in their half.
Yeah.
And they've got City and Liverpool in their next 2 league games, so they could really face some goals. But they're scoring goals and they're picking up points though.
I mean, they are. I mean, to be fair, they picked up what? Actually, they beat Newcastle, so it was decent.
Beat Newcastle, beat Tottenham.
Do we
7.
we rewind a couple of weeks to Femi's shout out for their elite striker Danny Welbeck,
Still bagging.
still netting goals.
Yo,
You weren't
FPL.
wrong.
I told you, special player.
We've got a new FPL favourite though, the underrated Chris Wood, haven't we?
Oh yeah, oh man.
Right,
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest surprise is Forest. I just can't believe like how regularly they're picking up points.
Mm.
They've got a
Yeah.
good team though.
I don't know if they've had like a nice start or not, really.
They had an interesting start.
Well, the big flagship result was the 1-0 against Liverpool. So
Yeah.
They played Chelsea, Liverpool. They played Arsenal.
Not particularly.
don't think so.
No, they haven't played Arsenal.
So Bournemouth, Southampton, Newcastle, Wolves, Fulham, Brighton, Liverpool, Leicester, and Palace.
They have
Bit
played
of a
the
mix.
lower end, yeah.
and Chelsea, so a bit of a mixed bag. But I mean, I watched them on Friday. I thought they looked pretty good. I was well impressed with the fellow who they signed from Newcastle, Anderson.
Yeah.
Is it Anderson? Is that right? Yeah, he was really good.
I feel like they've robbed Newcastle a little bit there. They were forced to sign for PSR, were they?
Yeah, I mean, they paid 35 million for him.
Yeah, no, but it's probably a player they wouldn't have got rid of if they didn't.
Yeah, that's fair. But he was really good. And those wingers are a problem. Alanga and Hudson-Odoi, both of them looking really good at the moment.
Oh,
Right, and then Chris Wood finishing it all off.
Mm. And they just look settled. Like I really like their back line. It's got a nice balance to it.
Yeah.
Moreno can go both ways. Ina's the same, and the 2 centre halves look really strong. So
Ana's racking in points as well, you know. I feel he's racked in quite a bit.
Yeah.
Last week wasn't as much, to be fair, but for the most part, he's had a decent season.
I feel like they're missing their starting centre mids as well. Like, is it Danilo in there for them and another who's injured at the moment?
Ooh,
They have, is it Freud or something? Can't remember too tough.
Freud, he's
I guess the Argentinian. I think Ryan Yates played there every now and then. He's the dirtiest footballer in the Premier League. But
Yeah.
he just loves to scrap. But yeah, I think the big thing is they do have a settled team. Like they seem to have the same similar 11 players playing every week, which is James Ward-Prowse can't get in the team. I think that says a lot about their performances.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. I think he's a bit overrated, but I'd say that's fair.
I think we'll have to bring up the theme of late goals this week. There was some crazy finishes to games.
Yeah, lots of late goals, and therefore great limbs.
Great limbs.
Brilliant limbs at Brighton for Wolves. That Brighton end, that Brighton away end for late goals is fantastic.
Can we talk about the final goal for Wolves, though? Have we seen the clip that led to it? Has everyone seen that? The video?
I've seen that. Brighton were like breaking with like 5 men or something.
It was a 4-on-1 in the.
It was 4-on-1, wasn't it?
Yeah. So four Brighton attackers versus 1 Forest defender. Forest defender intercepts. Wolves defender intercepts, and they score the goal from it. Like if you've seen that clip, if I was a Brighton fan, I don't think I could watch that.
Yeah,
that's one way to lose a game.
And then it took about 3 deflections on the way in as well.
Yes, yeah, a bit of a sickener.
I haven't seen it. I never watch Match of the Day when United lose. I haven't seen.
How old are you? Like, come on.
That's totally fair.
When did you last watch Match of the Day?
It's been a while, mate.
This is where you're probably right about Brighton, Femi, because they were 2-0 up with 5 minutes to go, minus extra time, and to throw away 2 points like that.
Like it's just honestly, it's
score that second goal and just lock the doors.
What makes? I mean, yeah, they tried to they try to play up defensive, and that's just not their style. Like, you spend more than half of a game, attacking and pressing and playing the high line, and then you try to switch your system literally towards the end of the game. It just doesn't make sense. Like, the human beings at the end of the day, like, defenders are not just going to start, moving differently just because, where you're winning, at that point, especially when you're used to just playing for the high press, for the most part of the game. And then, that's what happens. Similar to Dortmund when they lost to Madrid.
Yeah, 100%. It's weird that Brighton adopted that as well, because they were 2-0 up against a team they should be beating at home.
Yeah. Scrapping, go for it.
Yeah, like
more.
Again, they should be able to see it out. But it's a huge cliche. Like, got a young manager, a bit naivety. Like, is it just the case that they should be going, let's just game manage a little bit, waste a bit of time, keep a hold on to it?
It was complacency for sure.
Yeah.
But I heard just moving on to the Arsenal game, like Carragher was comparing Mikel Arteta to like Jose Mourinho-esque in the way that they go about things, and then when they get the lead, they do sort of flip modes, and they're trying to hold on to a lead, which might have been a bit to their detriment in the Liverpool game. Like, it can work both ways. You can do that. You can sit back and absorb pressure and be hard to beat, but your mentality flips, and you can concede goals by doing it.
For starters, let's just get this out the way. There will never be another manager like prime Jose Mourinho.
Showbiz, isn't he?
Like, just never. He was.
I know. He said it tongue in cheek, but he said after the furore in the Fenerbahce game last week, he said, "I've got to go to a low-table English team that doesn't play in Europe. That's got to be my next role. If they're looking out for a manager, I'm available."
Could be Man United, couldn't it?
Oh, couldn't resist that one, eh?
He's got unfinished business there. Like he said, that 2018 title, he's still got hopes that that's going to come their way.
He's counting it. He's not hoping anything. He's counting it.
Mate, if Man City can get Rodri to win the Ballon d'Or and defeat Perez and Florentino Perez and his mafia crew, I'm sorry. Like, Man City, they're the gods now. They can do anything they want.
I think if there's somebody that UEFA hates more than Real Madrid, it's probably Man City.
I imagine so. Well, yeah. So a raft of the charges against Man City are actually from UEFA as well as the Prem and FA.
I mean, they've been expelled from Champions League once unsuccessfully, didn't they?
Well, yeah, I thought the UEFA ones were over because they happened too long ago.
Yeah,
they tried it, and the sport attribution, whatever it's called, the court of
arbitration.
That's the one. They threw that out, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think City's anybody's biggest fan.
So we probably called it last week with the Arsenal Liverpool draw. I think Arsenal probably, with 10 minutes to go, wouldn't have been happy with 1 point, but with 90 minutes to go, would have taken 1 point, and probably Liverpool would have been 2. So I think the happiest club at the end of the weekend will be Man City.
Yeah.
I mean, Arsenal losing both Saliba and Gabriel now, that is the true mental test. Because you essentially lost your spine.
Yeah.
I mean, other than Declan Rice.
Have they said anything about Gabriel's injury? Do they know how long it is?
It's like a knee injury, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but he got it by diving, so he's hurt himself really. Do you see the Arnie Slot comment about them falling over all the time is why he got a yellow card? He was saying to his assistant, "This is an effing joke," and the fourth officials thought he was swearing at him, so they booked him.
Well, he's listed in FPL as knee injury, 75% chance of playing. So
not be that bad then.
No. Right, I've never listened to FPL when it comes to injuries, man.
Yeah, they just won't know yet.
Yeah, they wouldn't know. They're speculating.
Anyone that comes off pre-60 minutes is often listed as a knock and 75% chance.
Yeah, like Chris Wood's got a little injured sign next to him.
Let me check my subs bench to see.
I don't even know it was a game on Friday, and didn't make a sub. Nothing. Broke my heart, that one.
Did you pay the price for that?
Yes, I did. I mean, but thankfully Haaland started scoring again, so that was good.
Yeah, he got one though, didn't he?
Yeah, mate. Oh, I was horrendous. When you're lower than average and you know you've had a stinker.
I thought I was doing well, and I was after Saturday, and then Sunday I didn't really accumulate much. But no, I wasn't lower than the average. Average was 54. I got 68, so not horrific.
Mm.
I feel like City just kind of took a breather on Saturday, just like scored an early goal, played massively within themselves, and then all praise Southampton afterwards for just letting them win in second gear.
Yeah, I think it was very much like that. They really saved their breath, didn't they?
Yeah.
But the team that I think looked leggy again from playing midweek was Villa, Joel. These weekend fixtures following the midweek,
Yeah.
second half, really it seems to be creeping in.
They were fine until they got in front, and then they lost their composure, which is probably due to mental fatigue. Really, they weren't playing. Like, I would always back them to see a game out like that, to be honest. But yeah, they didn't stick to what they're good at. They were taking long goal kicks and just trying to get the ball away from the goal rather than thinking about how they were going to keep it and close the game out. Really, they were a bit desperate with some of the challenges they were making. Gave away lots of set pieces in the last 10 or 15 minutes. And yeah, eventually one of them told. They were pretty good before that. Bournemouth's keeper kept them in it, I think. Like Villa started pretty well. First 30 minutes, they were pretty good. And then Bournemouth kind of closed the first half out well. But then Villa got the initiative back, eventually went in front. But then Bournemouth were stronger in the last 15 again. So it's probably all linked to the team still getting used to kind of playing European football and intense games and stuff like that. I mean, if Villa can keep everyone fit, everyone's talking about the squad at the moment. Like, there is a lot of depth there. So if they can get everyone match fit and rotate effectively, then they should be able to mitigate that. But that's a big if, isn't it?
It was actually a good result for Bournemouth as well.
Yeah, but that as well.
4 points. Bournemouth have had 4 points out of the last 2 games against away at Arsenal and against Villa. That's pretty decent.
Yeah, they'll be happy with that return, won't they?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys do any of the betting, but the yellow card market got absolutely smashed this weekend.
Oh my God.
So many yellow cards.
In that Villa game, every foul, I think the first 10 fouls were yellow cards.
Mm-hmm.
Then he just stops getting them out. It's like, what is the point in that?
He's going to send off the whole pitch, though, if he kept going at that rate.
But then just don't book people for silly things. Just don't book them in the first place. It was absolutely mad. It was like every foul was a yellow.
I think you had 7 and they had 5 or 6 or something like that.
I think there were 12 or 13, yeah.
Nearly every player.
Yeah.
So yeah, the betting, I saw one £10 bet come in for about 30 grand in yellow cards. So
wow.
Some people made some serious money this weekend.
Yeah.
Right, into the big clash over the weekend, the mid-table rivalry, the Uniteds, the final nail in the coffin for Eric Ten Hag, then Femi.
I feel like if you're losing to West Ham, you really start to question your credentials as a manager. I mean, for the most part, we've questioned Ten Hag for the most part of the season. One of very, I would say very few people, but a large percentage of people who wanted him gone, even after the FA Cup victory. But I think that yes, it's a long, it's been a lot coming. If we're being honest, the sacking. I think after what game was it? After the Spurs game, he should have been gone because obviously it's international break as well, gives you time to prepare for remaining fixtures. But we didn't do that, and then gave him a few more games, and then he even lost even worse. Losing to West Ham. But to be fair to him, the team played really well. First half, we had loads of chances, missed loads of chances, but that's kind of been our story all season, really. And then
last season as well as this one.
Yeah, and then even worse, what a decision! Michael Oliver needs to be.
The penalty.
He needs to be arrested. Check that man's bank account. Check that man's bank account. The certain decisions you look at and you think, do you know what? Okay, not to go over the top. It's not one of those terrible, terrible, scandalous decisions, but it's poor. Like the referee had no reason to intervene in that one. It wasn't clear and obvious. It was literally just Michael Oliver just trying to, I guess, feel important and make his presence felt during a game. I hope he's relegated to the championship for the next 2 weeks, next month even, because now he's cost the manager his job. He really hasn't, but it's better for the story that he's cost Ten Hag his job. But honestly, I think it's the right decision. It was time to go. It's a shame really as well, because when Ten Hag started, I thought he was really good. We started really well. We're playing good football. Casemiro was from another planet. Honestly, he made him look so good. He made him look 26, 27, back to the Madrid days. And now, after a shocking last 18 months, I think it's the right decision to get someone in. And now we've got Ruben, is it Amorim coming in?
I mean, if you do, yeah.
So,
the next Jose Mourinho. If you do get him, so the odds on the next Man United manager favourite for the permanent role is actually Van Nistelrooy.
No, definitely, but it wouldn't be him.
Well, no, I'm telling you what the odds are. So yeah, the odds are that Van Nistelrooy will get and retain the job, and then after that, it is Amorim.
But I think the betting market makes sense because Van Nistelrooy was a manager, right? And he left his management post to come sit on the assistants bench at Man United. Don't get me wrong, he's a Man United legend. He probably loves the club, but there must have been some sort of, right, if this doesn't work, we're going to give you a go. There must have been some sort of agreement like that. So he'll get a chance, I think.
Yeah, but how many games does he get until January?
Oh, stop that! No, there's no chance.
I don't agree. Like, it's football, isn't it? Like, they'd have said that to him, but now it's a different time, and unless something's signed, then they're going to go and get Amorim, aren't they? Because
I sent you guys those odds this afternoon, didn't I?
Yeah.
So the odds I sent you
have now changed, isn't it?
They have changed, and Amorim has now gone top ahead of Van Nistelrooy.
Yeah.
I mean,
so this afternoon it was Van Nistelrooy and probable.
Yeah, but that's that's pre Ornstein and Fabrizio tweets, isn't it? So then everybody's gone and it doesn't even need to be a lot of money on those markets to make Amorim the favourite.
Who's tracking Gareth Southgate's movements this week?
Who's Gareth Southgate?
Yeah.
We said it in the pod over the summer. I really hoped that Man United would pick up Southgate.
For non-Man United fans, that would have been ideal.
Yeah, it would have been. Whereas Amorim,
but just devil's advocate, like on Amorim, like Ten Hag when he came was super highly rated from a not top league, and came in and United proved too much with him. Spent $500 million and made them worse. Like, hiring a good manager doesn't seem to be as easy as right, Amorim's a good manager, United are going to be good. It's going to be 5 years in the making. Right? I just think there's probably a bit of an internal problem. Like, players have now sacked 3 or 4 managers under the same sort of group. So is one manager going to make the difference? Maybe not.
I think it can happen that way though. Like,
just for that, James,
having Bruno in the dressing room and somebody who Bruno buys into, I think it's probably a big factor.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Bruno bought into Ten Hag though.
But how much? And I don't really see a lot of that on the pitch personally. Like, he's been professional, but he hasn't been the player that he was for this stretch for at least a year.
True.
Yeah,
I
do it based on who's been in my fantasy team, and Fernandez used to be.
He was a must-have, wasn't he? Not anymore.
He was.
That was on the but you remember, you forget that was on the Ole. Ole ball was not. I
couldn't tell you. It was under.
It was defend and counter attack and vibes. Okay. Literally,
it was COVID vibes. Yeah, it was
COVID vibes, man. Like, Ole football was different. No, mate.
Have you guys seen the theories about who makes the best managers? Like, what position players make the best managers?
No,
centre mid.
So the theory is it's a centre mid, and an attacking centre mid is the best manager.
What data is there to suggest that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one.
Pep was a holding midfielder.
Yeah.
Arteta was a sentiment.
Same.
Yeah, but
Xavi, Alonso,
Yeah.
Was a centre half.
yeah, but
Who?
you've
Klopp. Klopp was the centre half. He's gone, binned off, taken a cash deal. Ten Hag was a centre half,
Yeah.
gone. Company,
I mean, Zidane was a
Nothing.
centre mid, I guess.
yeah.
Zidane was a centre mid.
There can't be enough data yet to suggest that these centre mids are the best.
This is just some YouTube shorts that I was seeing. This is
Oh.
where I'm equivalent to Wikipedia.
Data is severely skewed by Pep.
Yeah.
Do you think Zidane's overrated as a manager?
No, I think he's
No?
rated properly because he had one of the best teams of all time that he was managing.
I feel like the only club he could manage is Real Madrid. To be honest.
Yeah.
I think you probably could have gone in there and won a Champions League at that point.
True.
He's
So
not-
then,
He's not looking back in, is he?
No,
Yeah.
but it's a tactical genius.
but
Then.
wouldn't that suggest that he's overrated then?
No, it's just he's probably overrated.
I don't think anybody
That's what
rates
I said. I said
him.
overrated.
Oh, yeah, because they're talking about him going to the whole like Zidane to United thing's been floated over the last 5 years. But
Yeah. I don't think he wants to get out of his comfort zone.
he probably might do France at one point.
Probably. But still,
Uh,
Ten Hag's gone, and it's a good day for all football fans worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit ironic that he goes after they play pretty well, miss absolute sitters, and get pretty shafted by a very strange refereeing decision.
Yeah, but that's been the story of United, man. Excuses.
No, I know what you mean about it. Like it's big.
Chances. Yeah, like there's only so many chances you can miss, and
Yeah. And they are 14th after 9 games, so that's not
Hey,
ideal.
you get sacked for results like that, even at teams in the bottom half. He's won one game in the last 8 in all competitions. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's criminal.
yeah.
terrible.
Good result for Lopetegui though, and he needed that.
Yeah, he needs that.
He did need it. His odds are third.
Yeah.
Third.
See, that's the thing
Third to go.
with West Ham. You've got fans who they're so lost from reality about where they're at as a team. That they're looking to play attractive football, but mate, you're just not that team.
Are we talking about West Ham here?
Yeah, No, I'm being honest though. Like you had David Moyes, he understood the culture. He understood how to play. How to get West Ham points. He understood how to get you points, how to get you victories, vital goals as well. Like he just knew. He understood the players. And there's no chance. Moyes back to United. I would lose my head. But
Might just be what you need. Good mid-table manager to stabilise.
Yeah, the
not
point
that bad.
about the West Ham fans' relationship with Moyes is kind of the point that I was trying to make about football fans in general and like Russell Martin and trying to put a style in place. If you don't do that, you're on a really short leash, because if you're not getting results, then people will just point at it straight away and say there's no style of play, which is kind of what happened with Moyes at West Ham, and not even winning the Conference League could kind of stave that off. But yeah, better the devil you know, and I think they've got a long way to go under Lopetegui, to be honest. They look a bit undercooked. Like Paquetá's like having a strange old season. He's not really influencing games, and
I mean, there's a chance he could never play football again. So.
yeah. I wonder if that's right.
Yeah, so if you look at West Ham like forums for fans and stuff, like they have a forum for discussing Lopetegui as a manager. Obviously, he only joined in start of the season and last season, and there's already 6,000 posts discussing him leaving. So they're not super happy with what's going on. But that might be that distance from reality of what they expect. They want the Europe runs, and Prem's too competitive for an if you're not really well trained, if you don't have a proper start of play, you're not going to sneak into Europe like you might have 10 years ago. It's too hard. You have to be so good now.
Yeah, he's
I was just looking up the Paqueta. I was looking up the Paqueta stuff. So go on. What's going on with Paqueta?
Throw the bucket in for gambling, aren't they?
Yeah.
but like very.
I mean, it's
very
actually match fixing.
Like wide scale investigation into basically connections with organized crime in Brazil.
Yeah, band for life is what they're after.
Making millions.
It's the bookings, and there's like videos of him and the bookings that he's getting.
Oh no, he's done.
Did you listen to that podcast I spoke to you about the match fixing scandal?
No.
They put him in jail for it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they really go after Paquetá if it is match fixing or spot fixing of yellow cards.
Yeah.
Have you heard the Bruce Grobbelaar? Is there a Bruce Grobbelaar one, James?
No, I haven't listened to that one. The one I was about was a Bromley footballer. Yeah, if you want to get clued up on the podcast, it's Moses Swabu. The podcast, it was a BBC Sounds one. It's about 8 episodes. Troy Deeney hosts it. It's really good.
Troy Deeney.
Yeah,
he is. No, he's hilarious, mate.
He lost me.
Have you seen that video?
His team of the week. Oh gosh, his vocabulary marginally outstrips Femi's.
Have you seen that video where they asked him to make a sound when he hears a striker better than him?
I saw that this morning, and he's stayed quiet when they said Adebayor.
Yeah,
very kind on himself.
Nuts.
Oh,
he's the most confident man I've ever seen. I mean, not even confident, the most delusional. Like, he thinks he's better than Harry Kane.
There were like 2 seasons at Watford in the Prem where he was really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that was with him and
he bullied Arsenal.
Bullied everyone.
Yeah, he bullied Arsenal quite a bit.
But
that's not hard though. Arsenal not really hard to bully.
That time, yeah, they were
being honest.
They were there to be bullied, weren't they?
Bullyable. Yeah.
Mm.
Shall we go to F1?
Yeah. Oh, it was good. I'm not sure who watched it. I'm going to guess Femi didn't. Yeah.
Calling me out like that.
Yeah. The way you went like this.
I mean, like we've spoken about it at length. The downfall of Red Bull by holding on to Perez. They've now dropped down to 3rd in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari overtook them this weekend as well, with Perez finishing at the back of the grid. So as races on track, he was the last one to finish. There were others that went off in the race, like Tsunoda crashed on the first straight. And then Albon had to go off because he got caught by Tsunoda in that crash as well. But I mean, other than that, Perez just wasn't able to get any speed out of the car.
And what happened with Verstappen? I've seen headlines, but I don't know what happened.
He lost his head.
I mean, he did lose his head, but it was very similar to what happened last week as well, to be honest. The way that Verstappen overtakes and defends is forcing people wide. So he does a late lunge up the inside and they have to leave the track to avoid a collision. So they can't turn into the corner because he's taken the apex of the corner. Yeah, dive bombing's the right term, yeah. And he's not making the corners, like he's not making the apex of the corners.
Right.
And then the other drivers having to go off to avoid a collision, which is what Lando Norris said, and the FIA have agreed with him this weekend and come down on Verstappen incredibly harshly. So where they'd given other people 5-second penalties last week, this week they gave 10-second penalties to Verstappen. However, I would say that had Norris attempted the corner, they'd have crashed. So he's avoided a collision. So he's actually saved Verstappen. But had they have crashed, that would have been to Verstappen's benefit because Norris wouldn't have got any more points than him.
Yeah. But he's got previous, hasn't he? So I wonder if they're...
I mean, previous now for 3 years, from racing against Hamilton onwards. He's had it. He's always driven like that, been the aggressor in the pack. There are other drivers that are aggressors in the pack, but with less finesse. Like Colapinto is throwing his car around on the racetrack, and it's great to watch.
Yeah, just back on the Verstappen point, the reason he got 10 seconds was the severity of it as well. And there's different rules for overtaking than there is defending. So first corner he was defending, and he essentially pushed Lando off track. Can't do that, slam dunk. And second one, he dive bombed inside him, which was super dangerous on a high speed corner, and they would have crashed. And it is they crash. Verstappen probably wins the championship at that point. you can't be doing that. Like, this is as bad as I've seen Max, at least in my time watching, because he thinks the rules like support that. So they're making an overnight rule change this week ahead of next week, sort of address what you are and aren't allowed to do. So yeah, it was a bit of a one-off week where everyone was just sort of battering each other. Everyone was dive bombing each other. Lawson and Perez got into it. I'm not sure, there was another crash as well. Like, there was a crash right at the start as well. Sonoda was put into a wall. Like, it was a super dirty.
Well, the Liam Lawson and Perez one's quite good because Lawson's obviously come in as a Red Bull junior driver and is going to be taking Perez's seat next season for definite, and maybe this season if they do can Perez after the South America section of the season, which I think, like, now that they've lost the Constructors' Championship and the Ferrari is now faster and the McLaren possibly is too, but of the 6 drivers for McLaren, Ferrari and Red Bull were the ones out of the 3 that aren't going to be getting both drivers up in the points regularly because Perez just isn't doing it. So they're not going to be taking maximum points at races, whereas Ferrari look like they're able to get 1-2 finishes and have obviously done so last week, and then Norris slipped in to disrupt the 1-2 this week with Sainz winning and then Norris second. So yeah, I don't know what they do with Perez. It's cost them the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, the big problem is with Lawson. He's got himself in trouble with Helmut Marko this week as well, because obviously he's driving for RB. He's pushed the Red Bull off a track and he's given him the middle finger as he's gone past him. Like, it doesn't look good for a driver. So yeah, they're in a bit of a world of pain to finish. Like, there's not even an easy fix. It's not like you just whip in Ricciardo again, like, because he thinks he's finished. There's no one you can really put in that Red Bull that competes with a Norris, a Piastri, Leclerc or Sainz. So yeah, the interesting one for me is that Sainz looks like he's in the form of his life and he's about to get pushed into a Williams next year. So I wonder what that'll look like for him.
I mean, yeah, like, can you break that deal and get Sainz into Red Bull?
They won't do it. Jos Verstappen and Sainz don't like each other very much. They fell out when they were racing for Toro Rosso years back, so he was never really considered for Red Bull.
So on to Sao Paulo. For this week's race. It's not a sprint race. Oh, it is a sprint race this weekend. Yeah, we're back at the sprint races. So we've got 2 sprint races left to go.
Yep.
How many extra points for a sprint race?
8. Is it 8 for first place?
Yeah, it's like, I think it's 8 and then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the top 8, I think.
So every little helps. And where actually we saw, Joel, we've spoken about getting that extra point for the fastest lap.
Mm-hmm.
That was contentious this weekend. So Norris held fastest lap for most of the race, and then Red Bull pitted Perez to go on to soft tyres at the end of the race to take it, and then Ferrari pitted Leclerc, and then he did take it, didn't he, James?
Yeah, so Leclerc had like a 30-second gap from 3rd to 4th, so he could easily put another set on. So both him and Perez were going for the last lap, fastest lap, to take it off McLaren. But this is the last year, isn't it? It's going next year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they've done it. It's
a bit silly, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Like, the way that teams can, like you say, Leclerc's got a 30-second gap between him and the car in front on the last lap. Why not just bring him in?
Exactly. Like, you're not giving anyone an extra point for qualifying fastest.
No.
So, like, it's equivalent. Why not give a point for that?
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it, is to do it for qualifying. Give it fastest lap for qualifying, 1 point. Same thing. Because I don't know if you saw the quote from Colapinto. He had it last week up for the last point, and Ocon went out. He's like 19th. And for some reason took the point off Colapinto for no reason, who wasn't even in the points. Like, just silly. But yeah, Sao Paulo as a track is one of my favorites. It's like super easy to overtake. You can go through the field. You can get mixed up grids and stuff. So
yeah, which is why I think probably we saw a little bit more dive bombing at the Mexican Grand Prix, because you've got the longest straight of the year and the longest DRS zone. So you're carrying all of that extra speed into that single corner, And then there aren't really many other, there's probably one other opportunity for an overtake. So you are just having to go hard on the brakes into that first. It is corner. It's the first corner, isn't it?
Yeah. What I will say about F1 is if you're not really into it, I'd get into it now because next year will be like an all-timer. It'll be, the cars will be super close together. You'll have different winners every week. It'll be great.
Yeah. So you're gonna have Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari with Leclerc. Gonna have Verstappen and a other, probably Lawson at Red Bull, and then you've got Norris and Piastri, and Piastri is going to be in his third season and much more punchy next season too.
Exactly, and they'll be good from the start instead of catching up halfway through like they have. Like, I think it'll be like, hopefully it'll be Hamilton and Ferrari personally. But
and by the way, Mercedes is also there too. And they don't stop upgrading their car either, so they're probably going to close the gap. I don't think we're going to see the limit of development on the cars fairly soon. And next year is going to be such an open field, so it's going to be brilliant. And then of course you've got like the Hasses as well. So the Hasses, everyone's second favorite F1 team because they run a team of only about 200 staff. Is it about 200 James? Do you know?
300, yeah, they're a third of the size of the real F1 team.
Whereas Mercedes have got a staff of like 1,000, 1,200. So it's quite fun to watch this little team mixing it up with the big boys. So they finished in about 5th and 6th, 6th and 7th, 7th and 8th. Either way, like finishing in the points and finishing way above teams with triple the spend. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's Haas. Yeah, so Toyota returning to F1 for the first time since 2009. So it's Toyota Gazoo Haas.
What a name.
All right, well, that will do it for this week. If you've enjoyed listening along, like, subscribe, rate us 5-star on Spotify, and get in touch at allsportspods@gmail.com. And we will catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers.